Now, believe it or not, we are about to already be in the final Trio Div Cup of the season and potentially the final Trio Div Cup ever. The opens have just concluded. We got to go over everybody that was able to qualify, who failed to qualify, and why we are going to be getting our first and second look at some of our biggest off-spawn fights at Globals. Real quick before this video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. We're trying to hit 1,000 supporters on our code, so I appreciate every single person that uses code KDOG. Also, one more quick thing, make sure you guys follow me on my Twitch or come back here on the day of finals if you guys want to watch any of these tournaments with me. Without further ado though, we got a lot to talk about in today's video. Let's just get it started with everybody that was able to qualify. Now, in a very impressive, dominant day, we had the trio in first place of Kanata, Bolton, Rapid. They finished on 998 points and were able to get that in only 14 total matches. They also finished, of course, with the most elims in this entire tournament, getting 277 elims. If you're wondering why the matches are relatively low for a lot of these trios, it is because a lot of these guys end up quitting Central early once they have already qualified, so they can go and try to qual on West as well. But for one of our LAN teams, they look really good and they're trying to end off the Div Cups on a high note before Globals actually starts. Second place is Chance, third place is Power, fourth place Aviv, Skittles, and Virgo, fifth place is Booga, Eshu, and Void. Sixth place, finally back to our LAN teams, we have Adris, Acorn, and Poyo on 838. They also only played 14 total matches, won 3 of them, and got 226 total elims. These guys ended up beating Peterbot last week to win the Cash Cup, and we actually got to see a 3v3 between Adris, Acorn, and Poyo versus Peter's trio. So I want to show you guys how that fight went.
Oh my god, they're keying him. Oh my god, Thunder Pump. Oh my god, wait. Poyo with a big pump on a ritual. Oh my god. Oh wait, he just full boxed Acorn. What the? That's what Poyo does here. Poyo. Oh my god, big shot on a ritual. Takes him. Ritual. Poyo versus Peterbot here. Peterbot goes down as well. Oh my god. Adris taking him down. Oh my god, and they clean up Poyo versus. Wait, Poyo just wiped Peterbot's trio in like 15 seconds.
I mean, man, it's looking a little bit rough for Peter's off-spawn situation right now at Globals, but of course, we still have some time until the actual tournament starts. I could really see these guys being in a 2-horse race between Poyo's trio versus Peter's trio, dueling it out for who could actually take home that global championship. Seventh place, another trio that's trying to insert their name into that mix though. We do have Clicks, Yamzo, and Higgs on 799. They won 2 out of their 15 matches and got 209 total elims. This has been one of the trios that I feel like I have seen grinding together the most. They have played every single EU tournament, every single NA Central tournament, and every single West tournament as well. And Clicks has been doing all of this off stream, by the way, too. They have a fully uncontested POI right now. They're in a little bit of drama between some extra loot versus Kanata's team, but I have to say right now, they also look super good. 8th place is Threats, Ozone, and Chimp. 9th place is Day, and then rounding out the top 10 is G Money, Josh, and Rise on 776. So other big names in lane teams that were able to qualify is like 12th place of Ritual Cold and Peter on 743, 13th place of Mud Shadow and Sphinx on 736. This is one of the teams that was kind of struggling after day 1, but they were able to put it together and qualify on day 2. And then we do have Victor v Epic Well in paper in 15th place. So for the first time in a set lobby finals, we will finally get to see Peterbot versus Epic Whale off spawn. This is going to be so huge for how the Globals maps end up shaping out, because if Peter's team just absolutely rolls through them, I could see a real high chance that Epic Whale leaves. But if we see something very similar happen to what like Tayson did, and I'm not talking to the extent of like a 5-0 versus them, but even if Epic Whale wins like 4-2, I think that just gives them even more confidence to want to stay at the drop spot and not leave it. So this is going to be a huge week of off spawns for both of these guys. We have another NA West team that was able to qualify in 17th place of Baka Pars and Pump, Recooper and Curly in 25th, and then another one of our big name teams that had a huge day 2, going from 100th place to 32nd, was Visuals, Braids, and Diminished. So I feel like this actually is one of those rare instances where we do have every single one of our NA Central trios in the finals, and we even have 2 of our West teams as well. This finals on NA and EU are going to be absolutely stacked. Now here is the finals map. You can see every single team that is currently contested and uncontested. Obviously the huge one that everybody's going to be focusing on this week is Peterbot versus Epic Whale off spawn. If I had to make my actual predictions on how I think this off spawn fight is going to go, I think I honestly kind of want to lean towards maybe a 4-2 in favor of Peter's team, but at the exact same time, Epic Whale's trio is no slouch off spawn. They have been landing at this spot for far longer than Peter has. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight even ended up going like 3-3, completely dead even. If we're just going player for player skill wise, Ritual is probably better than every single person on Epic Whale's team. But if you watch Fortnite at all over the past couple of years, you know that off spawns are more than just individual skill. It's gonna come down to who has the better drops, who is more prepared. But as of right now, I think I do just have to give the slight edge to Peter's trio. But for my actual top 5 predictions, I will not be having either one of those teams in my top 5, just because I can't really say with 100% certainty how I think that off spawn fight is going to go. So starting off with in my 5th place spot, I am going to go with Mud Shadow and Sphinx. They've had a little bit of a rough season so far in terms of the finals. In week 1 though, they did have that excuse because Sphinx's power went out, but then last week I'm pretty sure they finished around like that top 15 range when they were able to play all 6 of their matches out. Not 100% sure what is exactly going wrong for this team, but I think this should be the bounce back week for them. We know they like to W key for Surge, and they have teams around them that they can do exactly that. That is why I am predicting them to finish in 5th. 4th place, I'm going to go with the trio of G Money, Josh, and Rise. They continue to look like one of the biggest risers in terms of trios for this season, and they are my only non-LAN team that I'm predicting inside of my top 5. So my entire top 3 is starting off with Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts. I'm wondering, because my 3 and 2 spots, spoiler alert, my number 2 spot is Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs. I wonder how much of this tournament we're actually going to get to see what could potentially happen if these guys fight over the pond every single game. Because if you guys didn't know, in my video yesterday, we did talk about how Kanata said both of these teams are literally just going to dud if Clix wants to be stealing their loot from the pond. So I'm curious on if we're going to get to see that first impact happen in the Div Cup this week. I think they'll definitely fight at least 1 to 2 times there. But I mean, like, I'm already not predicting Peter in the top 5. It's gonna be hard for me to also predict 2 of the other top 5 trios on the region to not finish in the top 5. So I just went with Clix in 2nd, Kanata in 3rd, and then I think they do win back-to-back tournaments, literally in the best position possible. It is Aegis, Acorn, and Poyo, arguably the current LAN favorites. They have a double contest and a triple contest next to them, while still having their Surge trade partners up here. Literally, I am pretty curious though on how much the 50-50 split with the medallion is actually going to be affecting them for this tournament. I'm gonna make sure I keep note of what their placements are in the games that they do get the medallion versus what their placements are in the games that they don't. But I still think either way, this should be yet another Cash Cup win for Aegis, Acorn, and Poyo. Moving on to the final statistics now, the highest damage ratio is actually a pretty surprising one of Braids on a 2.87. Most damage to players and Elims was Bolts. He got 14,332 damage to players while getting 60 Elims, which was 10 more than 2nd place of Braids on 50. 3rd place was Rapid, 4th was Tony, 5th was Peter, 6th place was Rezi, 7th was Power, 8th was Nut, 9th was Kanata, and then rounding out the top 10 was Craze. Unfortunately for Craze's trio, this was a tournament week that they were not able to make it into the finals. So one of our other main underrated trios of this season is going to be missing out on their probably last major trio tournament that they're ever going to play together. The most assists was Aviv with 67, Time and Storm was Jack Causey, and then you can see the rest of the stats here as well. I'm super happy that so many of our NA teams was able to make it to the finals. Let's actually move on to how EU went now. Now in EU, pretty much all of our super big name trios that needed huge day 2s were able to do it and qualify their way into the finals. Let's go over everybody that we're going to see in the finals. Like 1st place, one of our LAN teams that continues to just look so good, of iDrop, Hari, and Cammy. They finished on 892 points, won 2 out of their 17 matches, and finished with 162 total elims as well. 2nd place is one of the trios that I think have the most to prove this week in all of EU, of Vico Vino and Flixie. They finished with with the most elims, getting 241 elims, and got the second most points of 857 points. Now, would you guys believe me at the beginning of the season if I told you that this trio has not gotten a single top 10 in any of the Div Cup finals this season, and they were fully uncontested in both of them? For a trio that a lot of people have expectations of potentially winning this LAN event, they need to have a big week. Third place, another one of our LAN teams of Pixstar Mandemus on 850. With these guys now being fully uncontested currently for the Global Championships, this week to me, I'm going to be keeping an extra close eye on them. They've already been performing pretty solidly this season. I think they are still just a very inconsistent trio at times. I want to see them put together a full tournament of just consistent games throughout the whole entire thing. Show that even though they are young up and coming players, that they are still potentially the future of EU and could even have a lot better of a LAN placement than a lot of people are expecting. Speaking of trios with a lot to prove though, the trio in fourth place is the team that I am saying has the most pressure on them to perform this week of Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy, our reigning defending EU FNCS champions. In the 2 Div Cups that we have seen so far this season, week 1 they finished in 32nd place, almost got dead last, lost 5-0 off spawn versus Tayson, and then in week 2 they were not even able to qualify. So now in the last Div Cup before LAN starts, both them and Tayson qualified. They need to put on a good performance off spawn versus Tayson. I think they honestly need to go like 4-2. They have to beat them off spawn this week. I don't think there is any way that they can just go even with Tayson off spawn and be super confident going into LAN, because at that point they would be down 8-3 in tournaments versus Tayson. I think they need to beat them off spawn this week, have a very strong performance, or a lot of people are going to start having real question marks about this team. Fifth place, another one of our LAN teams. So our entire top 5 is all of our LAN teams. It is Venya, Pixie, and Marius, another trio that is also fully uncontested at LAN now as well. So many of these EU teams are starting to get set up super nicely for globals. And I think Venya, Pixie, and Marius are 100% a potential trio that could win the whole thing. But at the same time, these guys have also been unconned. This trio has placed 7th and 11th from 2 fully uncontested OXR-based finals so far in the Div Cups. So I think this is another team that has kind of been underperforming to their own standards. And I am also expecting them to have a big week as well. 6th place is Ice, 7th place is Contri, 8th place is Dexy, 9th place is Video for Strokey and Ankiduo. And then rounding out the top 10 is Frisk, Tayson, and Chicho, the team that we were just talking about earlier, who is going to be having the off spawn versus Ferdoxy this week. Our other big name trios that were able to qualify and our LAN teams as well is 12th place of Chap, Mr. Savage, and Rezon. Chap and Mr. Savage are putting on a pretty sneaky, very well put together season so far. I know they had to play with Vidil in week 1, but they were still able to finish top 5 in that. They won an Eval Cup game. They finished 6th place last week with Rezon, qualified for the Eval Cup finals, and now are going to be making yet another finals. So they are 3 for 3 in finals quals and have never placed lower than 6th place. They are already, to me, having a better season this season than everything they basically showed last season. And with Coyote even announcing today that he is going to be going Canyons Crossing in this week's Asia Cash Cup finals, there are just more and more signs pointing to Mr. Savage potentially getting fully uncontested at LAN. And I have to say right now, if that does end up happening, there is a real chance that I want to predict these guys to finish top 10 at globals. Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstash were able to clutch up on day 2 and make it into the finals. Last week's Cash Cup winners going to be in yet another finals. Focus, Mixon, and Upple, another one of our LAN teams, in 22nd. Pingwalks and Malibuca making their first Div Cup finals of the entire season. This is another trio that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. I really hope that they are able to absolutely show out this week. I think they need a big week for their confidence going into LAN. And then we also have like Combeck Shark in Blaha in 27th, but then that is about it for all of our LAN teams. Now, unfortunately, our main LAN team that was not able to qualify is 55th place of Seti, Yapko, and Panzer. And believe it or not, Seti, Yapko, or Panzer have not played a single Div Cup finals this entire season, and they are not going to get any stacked set lobby Div Cup practice before globals actually starts. So definitely a potential thing to monitor, especially when you are making your predictions for how you think globals is going to go. This is one of the trios with the least amount of set lobby practice in this meta on EU. And then we also have like Clixiamzo and Higgs on 125th. They were not able to make the EU Div Cup finals, unfortunately. And then also in 130th, we have Mongrel, Gudenbray, and Velo also not being able to make it, finishing on 427 points. All right, let's move on to my top 5 predictions here now, and starting off with in 5th place. You guys can continue to call me crazy every single week for believing in these guys, but like I just said earlier when I was talking about them, they have been performing recently, and this isn't even just biased. I am going to go with Mr. Savage, Chap, and Rezon out of a fully uncontested drop spot that they have up here to continue their strong campaign this season and to finish with yet another top 5 going into the global championships. 4th place, I'm gonna go with Pixstar Mandemus. I really like their drop spot situation. I love the teams around them that they have the surge trading potential with. They have land team right here with Cammy, land team right here, land team right here. A bunch of situations that could actually happen at LAN. They are going to be able to get to practice in this Div Cup as well. And this team also, I just think, are 3 just phenomenal individual players. Moving on to my top 3 now. Am I delusional for still believing in Vico, Vino, and Flixie? Not a single top 10 yet in the Div Cup, but when you think of these 3 players as individual players, there is real arguments to be had that they can all currently be like top 10 to top 15 players in the world. Their FNCS placements this year are 1st, 6th, and 2nd place. If you're telling me that I'm insane for predicting these guys to finish top 3 in a Cash Cup, I just don't even know what to believe at this point. Like, this team has in no way, shape, or form showed me that they are a top 3 team this season, but I just think they are so good, and there is no reason why they can't pull off a top 3 or even potentially win the whole thing. But the trios I am going for my 2 and 1 spots are the 2 height teams on the region. 2nd place, I'm gonna go with Vanya, Pixie, and Marius. I think this is their week that they need to lock in, show that they are still one of the best teams in the entire world, and I think they'll be able to get the job done. And then in 1st place, they went from potentially getting completely banned from my top 5 predictions to now going to me predicting them to win last week's Cash Cup winners of Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstash. Absolutely loved how they played last week. I think their average placement in the finals was literally like a 4.5 while finishing like top 3 for most elims as well. You have arguably the best IGL in the entire world and then 2 of the best fighters in the entire world on the exact same trio. This team, whether or not you think that they have underperformed last year, you can't deny the talent that they all have, and that is why I am predicting them to win this week's Cash Cup finals once again. Moving on to the final statistics here now, the highest damage ratio was Demus with a 2.95. Most damage to players was also Demus with 11,705, and then the elim leaderboard absolutely dominated by Flixie, 46 total elims. Flixie continues to just look absolutely primed up. I feel like I've been saying that for the past month now. 2nd place was Pixie, 3rd place was Chap, another player that just looks absolutely primed up. 4th place is Hari, 5th for Doxy, 6th is Marius, 7th is Pablo, 8th is Axe Force, 9th place is Remorse, and then rounding out the top 10 is Lover on 37 as well. Remember, these stats are just for today since the cumulative leaderboard does not work. The most assists was also Demus, so Demus led in damage ratio, damage to players, and assists, but he was somehow surprisingly not even top 10 in the elim numbers. And then here is the rest of the statistics as well, if you guys want to check any of those out. Remember though, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. We're trying to hit 1,000 supporters on the code, so I appreciate every single person that uses code KDOG. Remember to come back here on the day of finals if you guys want to watch any of the set lobby finals with me. And of course, also, we're going to be streaming globals, so I want to see all of your guys' beautiful faces in there. YouTube says enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.